Hi guys, welcome back to the 50 State Cold Case Spotlight, and today we are in Rhode Island for day 5, the last day. Next week we will be going into North Dakota. Today I will be highlighting the case of Rita Bouchard, whose violent case still remains unsolved 78 years later. Rita at 17 had already lived a turbulent childhood before her violent death. Her parents would die of tuberculosis, and her and her siblings would become wards of the state. Rita and her sister Mildred were best friends, and they were actually placed together. They were so close that Mildred would later go on to have a daughter and name her Rita. Rita's family say that she was a very hard worker and a sweet girl. Both Rita and Mildred were working at the Rhode Island Fabrics in 1947. On February 1st, 1947, Rita had been at work and she said that she was feeling sick. Mildred said the night before that Rita had told her that she was very worried about something, but didn't elaborate more. Witnesses last saw Rita getting into a car near Collier Park on Main Street in Pawtucket with a man who called her by her name. Rita never returned home that night, and the next morning a hiker would find Rita's remains in an area called Lover's Lane behind Slater Park. Rita's throat had been slashed, and she'd been stabbed multiple times with what they believe was an axe. Rita had a horrific and brutal murder. There's a tree in the state park that still bears the scars of her murder, the tree that she was discovered in front of. Investigators were able to use Rita's little black book of names and addresses, and that brought them down to 2 suspects. One was a married man with a criminal record that they knew that Rita was secretly dating against her guardian's wishes. This suspect was said to have been a handsome photographer who went by the name Al. Investigators say that it appeared he had money, good clothes, and an expensive automobile. Rita's friends would tell investigators that Rita was infatuated with him. Mary Lewis, Rita's guardian, said that she knew that Rita was going to leave work early for a doctor's appointment, but there was never a doctor's appointment made with her doctor. Mary Lewis also told investigators that she did know about this mysterious older gentleman, Al, that he was good-looking and well-spoken, but she didn't know his full name, and she didn't think Rita did either. Mary said when she first found out about this relationship, she was shocked that Rita was consistently dating this man, and she forbid Rita from seeing him, especially when she found out this gentleman was exceptionally older than Rita. Despite not having a doctor's appointment, investigators do believe that Rita was actually headed to her doctor's office. Investigators say that when she got off early, she did go to catch a bus and requested a transfer to Wadsworth, where her doctor's office would be. She made that transfer, and that is where they believe that a man in the car approached her. They were eventually able to locate this suspect, and investigators confirmed that he was away from home for 24 hours that Friday evening. Rita got off of work early and went missing. The suspect was never named or charged. The other suspect was a man who has never been named or charged by police that says that he was with Rita that Friday night and he blacked out, and when he woke up, he was next to her body. Investigators interviewed him for 72 hours straight. His story continuously changed, but eventually investigators had to let him go, and he was never charged. Pawtucket Detective Cormier reopened this case in 2019 saying, quote, "She was 17 years old. She had her entire life in front of her. This is kind of a scary place for her life to end. Seeing the axe marks and the tree tells the story of what happened here," unquote. Sue, Anthony, and Rick Bouchard never had the chance to meet their Aunt Rita, as they were born several years after her murder, but the stories that they heard from their parents about Rita's murder still haunt them. Rick says he just wants closure and wants Rita to be able to rest in peace. He said that Rita's murder was all that his father ever talked about, and it bothered him so much, and they're just hoping to finally put it to rest. Sue said that her mother couldn't even go to her sister's grave. It was just too painful. She said that Rita will never be forgotten, has never been forgotten, and this will be an open wound in their family until it is solved. Investigators in Rita's family know the odds of solving this murder 78 years later will lead to a killer that is most likely already dead, but they still remain committed to solving her murder. Please keep sharing her story, and if you have information in Rita's case, you are asked to call 1-877-RI-SOLVE. Thank you for taking the time to get to know Rita today, and don't forget, every time we see those missing and murdered posts on social media, hit like and share, because every time we share a face, we get closer to solving a case. Don't forget, we will be here next week, and we will be heading to North Dakota. Thank you for watching another 50 State Cold Case Spotlight.